Welcome back, True Seeker. Of course, yesterday, Ozzy Osbourne passed, and that was the story of the day. In the U.S., later that evening, the focus became on Jeffrey Epstein attending Donald Trump's 93 wedding. And 93, no slouch of a number. Again, Ozzy Osbourne sang about that famous occultist Aleister Crowley, who had the religion that worshiped 93. That religion's Thelema. And of course, 93, number connected to both the sun and Saturn, which are both things that measure time. Saturn's the keeper of time to the occult. It's where the Grim Reaper's scythe comes from. And then with regards to that big bright star up in the sky, they say it's 93 million miles away on average. Not to mention in Gematria, Prince of Darkness equals 93, Ozzy's nickname. So this broke last night after the Ozzy thing. It's like, 93, huh? 93. Don't forget the Jesuit Order's logo is the sun, and there's 32 sun rays on it, like 93 was 32 years ago. But then what other headline broke last night, and it's getting even more coverage today, was Roy Black, the Epstein lawyer, passed. Roy Black. Ozzy Osbourne, Black Sabbath, Aleister Crowley, Thelema, 93, all in a day. And this is nothing new. I've been educating about this for over a decade. If you pay attention, the news is themed. It's like one big ritual. It's like one big occult artist masterpiece every day that's flying over everyone's head because they're not aware of any of these things. I'm sure even the average Ozzy fan doesn't realize, Aleister Crowley had an occult religion that worshiped 93 called Thelema. Very few people know about these things because very few people look into them. I mean, it's all on the public record. Anyone could look into it. There's been headlines here and there. I mean, it was a decade ago that I covered the Rolling Stone article about the one member of the U.S. House of Representatives that was a member of Thelema. If you were here back then, you've been here for a long time. But I remember covering that. I was like, it makes you wonder, is there only one member that's into this society that worships 93? Because there is a lot of ritualism around the number 93. But then also, with regards to Ozzy, we talked about how his death was clearly synced with King Charles yesterday, who's also born at the same time as Ozzy. They're both 76 years old. And what broke in the news on the day of Ozzy's death? Princess Diana's grandniece is dead. And remember, Princess Diana died by the numbers in 97. Prince has a Gematria 97. Again, Ozzy's the Prince of Darkness. Back then, Charles was the prince. Now he's the king. We're going to look at how perfect this news is. And the news broke yesterday, but she'd actually died on Bastille Day, this grandniece. And what's Bastille Day connected to? France. And where did Princess Diana die? France. In the tunnel where no one could see what was going on as she hit Pillar 13, like the last Ozzy album was titled 13. And then something like this, doctor pleads guilty to distributing ketamine tied to Matthew Perry's death at age 54. You wouldn't think to connect this to Ozzy, but look at what day the sentencing is. The sentencing is on December 3rd. Who's got a December 3rd birthday? Oh, Ozzy. You know, I mean, just like right after, bang, bang. And of course, Ozzy just died on 54 date numerology after the Cosby actor died at 54, going with a long list of 54 related deaths, including Matthew Perry. And then Brian Koberger also being the top story today. It's a reminder that the news of Brian Koberger's killing of the students on Kings Road in Moscow, Idaho, that news did not break until King Charles's birthday. Remember, the killing of the Virginia Cavaliers football players and the killings on Kings Road at University of Idaho, both of those stories broke the same day on King Charles's birthday. And the Virginia Cavaliers are those who fought for King Charles in the English Civil War. But both of those stories were saved for November 14th on King Charles's 74th birthday, when the king equals 74. So does killing, so does Moscow, where University of Idaho is. Like Gematria, like English, like how Ozzy just died yesterday on 74 date numerology. And somebody left a comment that it's come out now that Ozzy did a self-deletion, just ready to go because he's in pain from Parkinson's. I have not confirmed if that's true. I just read that comment we'll look more into that and see if there is merit to that story. But yeah, just, remember they said the victim, when the killings first happened, they said the victims, they'd called a man named Jack 10 times in the middle of the night, alluding to Jack the Ripper. And a lot of people think Jack the Ripper goes back to the royal family. And if you haven't seen my work before on the University of Idaho killings and Jack the Ripper and also King Charles, we'll cover it again. Something I thought of yesterday as soon as the stream ended on Ozzy, I mentioned how, there's a lot of famous British rock stars still breathing who are up there in years, who paid tribute to Aleister Crowley in one way or another. Ozzy did it the most directly with Mr. Crowley, but pretty much every single one of the major British rock bands from the era of the British invasion paid tribute to Crowley. I have a feeling we're going to see a number of them die before the end of this year. And just to remind you, in Gematria, rock equals 25, like London, like death, like time. Again, the word Prince equals 97, which is the 25th prime. Diana dead in 97. Now, her grandniece at the same time as Ozzy is dead. The news breaks. But I started thinking about this yesterday, and I said, wait a minute. 25 days from Ozzy's death is August 16th, and you guys know who died on that day in history, right? Elvis. Aretha Franklin. Been a lot of big deaths on August 16th if you go through it. A sports legend who died on that day is Babe Ruth. And remember, it's also the 228th day of the year, which is a deadly date. But if I was a British rock star up there in my years, and maybe even younger, because we know they take them young and old, man, I'd have my head on a swivel. So, yeah. And we're going to recap the Ozzy Osbourne death. I'm going to try to go through it quickly with all the great information that was called in, because there is a ton. And I saw that the one guy who bites my work and slanders my name, it was obvious he read my post. I updated, if you guys don't follow my blog, I updated the post last night and put a lot of new information in there. He pretty much went through and presented all of it as if it was his finds. Real pathetic guy. Copies my work and slanders my name. Just think about how shameful you have to be. And then he also begs for donations in the name of Jesus. Anyway, let's go through this again. Just 93, right? Aleister Crowley, same day. Really, you got to be blind. You got to choose to not see it. You got to choose to just ignore it. Aleister Crowley, Thelema, 93. Look it up. I've been talking about it since I got here. I didn't know about Aleister Crowley, Thelema in 93 until I started looking into these things back in 2013. That's when I learned about all this. August of 2013, I came across Manly P. Hall's The Secret Teachings of All Ages. It got me looking into a lot of things. In no time, I was on Aleister Crowley, 93 in Thelema, realizing 93 was this big recurring number in major rituals in the world. Again, you think about 93, the World Trade Center bombing. And remember, that happened right after Bill Clinton took office, and a lot of people don't know that Bill Clinton was not born Clinton. His biological father's last name is Blythe. His biological father died 3 months before he was born. His mother married into the Clinton political dynasty out of New York. Right after Clinton becomes president, a bombing in New York, in Manhattan, reminding of the Manhattan Project, where for nearly 50 years they tested major explosions that came out of the Manhattan Project underground and up in the sky, weather purposes, all kinds of purposes. But Bill Clinton, when he came in office, one of his first actions was to stop the underground weapons testing program. And the next thing you know, a bomb is going off under the World Trade Centers. And if you don't know the story, again, Gematria adds a lot to it, but they say the terrorists planted the explosives the wrong direction and blew a hole in the ground rather than up. They said had it been planted the right way, it might have leveled the World Trade Centers. They might have come down that day. But it was blamed on the Blind Sheik, which is also 93. Again, if you're new here, these 4 base ciphers of the English language, alphabetic order, reverse alphabetic order, both orders with numerology. Prince of Darkness, Ozzy's nickname. And you might see that there's some other overlap numbers there. We'll let that be for now. But don't forget, the day of the 93 World Trade Center bombing is the day that one of the greatest movies of all time came out in history, as far as I'm concerned. And that was Falling Down with Michael Douglas. Falling Down on the day the World Trade Center were bombed and nearly fell down. Do you think Hollywood had a little joke there? And then years later, when they did fall down, they had Flight 93 and, not to mention New York, comma, NY, like you'd write it on an envelope, is 93. Also, remember they simulated this just before it happened in New York. Wuhan, the rest of it, the corona. And if you've never seen Falling Down, you should go back and watch it because it is a great movie. But when he goes into the corner store owned by the Asian man, he goes on this rant about inflation, how expensive everything is. And he wants everything to be cheaper. And he has a baseball bat in his hand. And he asks the Asian store owner, what's the price of this? And when the man tells him the answer and it's too high, he just smashes up his store. And the store owner's apparently a little bit slow to catch on because he keeps telling him the price and he's not happy, so he keeps smashing the store more. And then finally he's like, oh, the price is, it's practically free. He's like, I don't want it for free. I want it for this price. And he gives him like a quarter or something. But anyway, the reason I'm telling you that is because if you go back and watch the movie, you'll see there's a street sign inside the store for God knows what reason other than predictive programming. It says Corona Street. And of course, it was the corona that led to the mass printing of money that caused prices to skyrocket, especially here in the United States. And that was all thanks to the chump and all the other Jesuits in on it. But yeah, this 93 number, it is no joke. And so again, you get this the night of the Ozzy death news. And then right after that, boom, Roy Black is dead. And again, it's just like Black Sabbath, and he's dead. He's dead at 80, right? I mean, speaking of Black Sabbath, we talked about where this fit in yesterday. Black Sabbath, 80. 80 Black Sabbath. And again, if you're new here, somebody went off on a rant about how I shouldn't be supporting satanic people like Ozzy Osbourne. For the record, Ozzy Osbourne claimed to be a Christian, and again, you read the lyrics to most of his songs, it's about fighting evil, and you better do something about it. So, as far as I'm concerned, here's what I'll put it. As far as I'm concerned, all these mega church leaders, all these total frauds of human beings, to me, these are the worst people. These are the most evil people on earth. I feel that Ozzy Osbourne, his legacy, his music, is positive. That's what I think. And again, for all you Christians who think he's so evil, I mean, he claimed to be a Christian. Who are you to say he isn't? Also, with regards to Roy Black, notice he was born on Jordan's birthday, 2/17, right? And he died on 7/21. Think about that. 2/17. July 21st can also be written 21/7, 2/17, right? But he died 154 days after his birthday. Ritual sacrifice 154. Again, 201 is the 154th composite number. Ozzy Osbourne's 201. Don't forget that Epstein's birthday is 20/1, the 201st day of the nation's age. Ozzy Osbourne's nickname Prince of Darkness is also 177. Like the Jesuit orders 177 and 201. Numbers that get paired together a lot, as I'm constantly saying. And if you guys don't remember this one, a few years ago, police investigating death of man found in Derby home Tuesday. His body was found at 201 Mount Pleasant Street. And again, officers responded to a home at 201 Mount Pleasant Street around 8 p.m. Tuesday to conduct a welfare check. When they arrived, I overlooked that, right? Because in Jewish gematria, Mars equals 201. Ozzy died on a Tuesday. This was on a Tuesday. Officers responded to a home at 201 Mount Pleasant Street around 8 p.m. Tuesday to conduct a welfare check. When they arrived, they found the body of a man in a state which didn't allow them to make a positive identification. According to police, the body was transported to the office of the chief medical examiner and an autopsy was performed on Wednesday. The autopsy did not discover any trauma to the individual, according to police. So the story ended up saying that the man was connected to Jeffrey Epstein, and With regards to 201 and the Jesuits, the man's name equaled 81, and he died 81 days before the Superior General's birthday. They say they believe the man was a Jeffrey Epstein mentor. So, just reminding you, Epstein has the 201 connection, so does Ozzy, in light of all these stories happening on the same day. Where the body was found was also not far from where Skull and Bones is located, Order 322. And don't forget, the founder of the Illuminati, who called it Order of Illuminati, which equals 201, died 201 days after the anniversary of its establishment on the 322nd day of the year. And if you missed my work when Val Kilmer died, I went back and showed the Batman film where he's in. Remember, in the Batman series, the 33rd episode, it's revealed that Batman's grandfather founded Skull and Bones at Yale. Skull and Bones has gematria of 201 and 202. And again, if you go back and watch the Val Kilmer Batman, when he goes down the slide that goes from his office down to the Batcave, just very briefly, they put up on the screen that he's traveling at 201 miles per hour, and then it jumps up to 202, and then it just doesn't even show any other speeds. It doesn't show the speed the whole time he's traveling, but just all of a sudden, in probably like a second and a half worth of clips, all of a sudden it says 201 miles per hour, 202 miles per hour. And again, we talk about this forever. When Paul Walker's movie, The Skulls, came out about Skull and Bones just before George W. Bush got elected, just before 2 towers became 0, before they became 1. Again, The Skulls came out 201 days after Paul Walker's birthday, or on the 202nd day of his age, and he gets a red Porsche in the film. And of course, he died in a weird way in a red Porsche 5 years to the day of Papa Bush, who's also in Skull and Bones, dying on the same day. And remember, don't forget who told you Papa Bush would not live past November 30th that year at age 94, and he sure didn't. 11 plus 30, 41, like Skull and Bones is also 41. Okay. The Princess Diana grandniece death. She's a college student, you guys. It's all synced with King Charles, as I'm about to go to. The murders at the college campus for King Charles. Today, the killer is going to prison for life. And don't forget, they said he lived in room 201G. Yeah, the killer. And don't forget, they arrested him initially in Scranton, Pennsylvania. They said they followed him across the country as he drove all the way back to Scranton, home of the hit show The Office that ran 201 episodes, which is also the town Joe Biden was born in, who lost his son 201 days before the first Jesuit Pope's birthday, whose name equaled 201, who was the first to live in Suite 201, and the same the same Jesuit priest who did the funeral for Beau Biden did the inauguration for Joe Biden. Beau's dead at 46. Joe's number 46, 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday, when Catholic equals 46. But again, that Jesuit priest who did the funeral and the inauguration, Leo Jeremiah O'Donovan, equals 201. Inauguration day is the 201st day of the nation's age. So anyway, Diana, her grandniece is dead at 20. Again, here's the gematria of death in the base ciphers. 38, 20, 97, 25. We said at the beginning there, you got to watch out for this 97, 25 thing. 97 is the 25th prime. The guy who's guilty of selling the ketamine that killed Matthew Perry, today's 97 days before the death anniversary. Again, I called this out at the start of the year. You got to watch for 97 and 25 all year. 97, the 25th prime, again, both death numbers. This has been going on all year. At the beginning of the year, I speculated that we might see a lot of plane crashes. There's been way more than I could have ever imagined. Plane crash equals 97. Again, LA burned up on the 97th day of the mayor's age. Fire equals 25. So does flood. It's been a bad year for both. Anyway, these are the death numbers, right? She's dead at 20. It's being connected to Diana, who died in 97. Diana also equals 20. And again, Prince equals 97 as well. Charles was the prince then. Prince of Darkness, also dead. They're saying this young woman, the news just now breaks, but that she died on July 14th, the day leaving 170 days left in the year. Sacrifice 170. Again, that's Bastille Day, which is important to France, where Diana died. Diana died in the tunnel in France. And you know what? I should have put it up here. You see how this girl's name equals 56, like royal family? Paris, France, the home of the Jesuits, is also 56. Society of Jesus is also 56. Bastille Day has the 187 and the 38. I forgot to put that up here. I forgot to put some screenshots in here. The Dying on Bastille Day was the 38 piece. But, yeah, 187 homicide code, Society of Jesus, Paris, France, Bastille Day. And it's a reminder that King Charles had his coronation on May 6th, which can be written 5-6, coronation equals 56. You might recall LeBron and Curry had a huge 56 ritual that day in the NBA playoffs with LeBron, King James beating Curry. Stephen, I know he's pronounced his name Stephen, but he spells it the same way as Stephen. The name means crown. LeBron is King James. Remember, he won the only finals for the Cavs on the real King James's birthday. In history, King James's son was King Charles, who Cavaliers are named after. That's why King James won on the real King. LeBron won on the real King James's birthday. But of course, in the UK, they do write that date, May 6, 65, in United Kingdom, 65. And speaking of the king, her birthday was June 21st. She died on July 14th, 23 days later, King 23. And Prince William, it was her cousin. He also has the same birthday. And he's next in line to be king. And notice he was born in 82. Remember who had a real big year in 82? You know, the guy who was also dead in the news the same day. Ozzy Black Sabbath. We talked about the 82 piece with Aleister Crowley, the famous UK occultist. She also died 63 days before Harry's birthday. Prince Harry's 63. And it synced with his 41st birthday. That's the other king number. So, theoretically, they could both be king someday. His birthday's 15/9, like Scottish Rite. The royal family's Masonic. Remember, Ozzy died 159 days after the anniversary of the first Black Sabbath album. And again, the highest degree of the Scottish Rite's 33, like he died exactly 33 weeks after his birthday. But also measuring from Diana's death to her death, 317 days, the 66 prime. And she died on 66 date numerology, 7 plus 14 plus 20 plus 25, 66. Charles, 66. Her name's Rosie Roche. Rosie, 66. In Jewish Gematria, King is 66. Remember, LeBron equals 66. LeBron James, 66. Lakers, 66. He goes to the purple and gold and wins him the finals by the numbers. Ozzy Osbourne, also 66. All in the news at the same time. Only 20 years old, college student. Again, the Kings Road killing thing getting all settled up at the same time. When we said this was connected to Charles from day one, they make a point in the article that she was a student at Durham University. 227, that's what day the news broke. 22/7 was the day this was in the headlines. Durham University, 83 like murder, like the British band The Police put out the song Murder by Numbers in 83. Durham University, 205 like United Kingdom, and then 97 like the year Diana died. So they say she was accidentally shot, by the way. That's how this young girl died. Accidentally shot. The granddaughter of the late Princess Diana's uncle was found deceased by close family members on July 14th at her home in Wiltshire County, England. The Wiltshire and Swindon corner confirmed for Fox News Digital. The Wiltshire is interesting because it has that 123. And remember, Ozzy Osbourne, he's got the December 3rd birthday and the 123 in his name as well. I left that part out, but maybe I shouldn't have. In light of the royal family being Masonic, she also died 48 days before the upcoming anniversary of Diana's death, and on a date that can be written 14/7, as they do write it in the UK. Freemason 147 and 48. Let me see. Where did I put the information about Diana's death? I'm pretty sure I linked it up here. For everyone who's never seen the work on Diana's death, I've covered it a bunch over the years. I've often covered it on the anniversary of her death. I have a book that covers Diana's death as well. The whole book's not about that, but it's a section of the book. And remember that there was her and now the king were having a hard time at the time. She was born on 7/1 and died while the queen was 71 when royal's 71. Notice Princess Diana, 132. Again, Looks like I went back and updated this post once the new calculator came out. But Princess Diana, 132. We talked about where this fit in with Ozzy's death yesterday and Mr. Crowley and Sabbath's first album coming out on the 13th of February, 13/2, when England's 132. But, yeah, Diana died 132 days after the Queen's birthday. Don't forget that Catholic Church is 132 and Roman Catholics 132 and United States of America is 132. That's big news all over the world. Dead at while the Queen was 71 at the time. Or hold on. Yeah, she was. The Queen was 71 at the time. She turned 71 in 97. And just royal is 71. Royal's also 28, like Black Sabbath. Interesting. Okay. She died 62 days after her own birthday. Remember, Queen Elizabeth, she became queen on February 6th, which can be written 6/2, and her coronation happened on June 2nd, which can be written 6/2. And again, can also be written 2/6 both dates. Queen 62/26. For people who weren't here when the Queen died, I predicted that 140 would be big in her death, and I thought she was going to die on Cannonball Day, May 20th, the 140th day of the year. Instead, she died on September 8th, the day leaving 140 days left in the year. Queen of England's 140. It had a lot to do with the movie that came out about her. You'd have to go back and watch my work on that if it still exists. I did that video to the song Cutie Pie from the 80s, if you know that one. Because, oh, the Queen, she was such a cutie. Of course, I'm being facetious. If you didn't count the span of days, it was 61 days later. Again, royal family 61. Royal family 61, or a span of 62. And now the girl who's dead, Rosie Roche. Wait, I missed an I. Rosie Roche, 61. So, again, days after or span of days. Both counts, always important. See, a lot of critics say, Zach cherry picks because he'll do the days after the span days. And whenever I see people say that, I'm like, how often am I showing the same thing over and over? How both counts totally mattered to the ritual. Not to mention sacrifice also equals 62, right? It's like Torah. And Torah begins with Genesis. Genesis 46 is about sacrifice. And of course, sacrifice is also 46. The tunnel she died in equals 113, like Princess. Tunnel she supposedly died in. Charles, Prince of Wales, also equaled 113. She was going through the divorce with him. The tunnel's 41 in light of it being synced up with her younger son's 41st birthday, as we just covered. King's also 41. Divorce 76. Did I put this in this post? Maybe it's in the book, but not in the post. Here, I'll just do it right now. Charles is 76 years old right now, right? Just like Ozzy just died at 76. August 31st, 1997. Charles' birthday is November 14th. No, she died 75 days before his birthday, or a span of 76 days. You know, going with the whole divorce thing. She died on the 48th parallel north, and now 48 days before her death anniversary, her niece is dead, her grandniece. Yeah, there's a lot of other information here too. But I did have the Charles piece in there. The divorce had, all right, yeah, the divorce had happened, but it was still a buzzing thing in the news. They'd gotten divorced the summer earlier, July 15th, 96. And she died a year and 47 days later. Charles' birthday leaves 47 days left in the year. Remember what they just did here in the U.S. on Trump's birthday, who's now number 47, when Trump equals 47? They had the No Kings protest, and almost everyone in the U.S. was oblivious to the fact that in the United Kingdom, King Charles was having his military parade, the guy born on the day leaving 47 days left in the year. Trump had his military parade that day too. What, they budget again $15 million because they knew they were going to break the road. Nice waste of $15 million. What did they do the other day? The other day they destroyed 10 million tons of food. Like, man, I'm glad we have a federal government that we pay all this money to that just does crazy things with our money, like destroys food that we paid for. Where would we be without this federal government? For the 20th anniversary, they had to remember her death. Death equals 20. Now her grandniece is dead at 20. All right, the doctor for Matthew Perry. Remember, Matthew Perry died on the day leaving 64 days left in the year. Just before Halloween, Matthew Perry, 64. Kill, 64. Dead at 54. But today, the news, 97 days for his birthday. Just that familiar pattern. 97, the 25th prime. Death equals 97 and 25. And here we are in 2025. And again, it's suspicious to me that the birthday or the sentencing date is set for December 3rd, Ozzy's birthday. This is right in the news after Ozzy dies. Out of all the days they could have set it for. But Ozzy again died yesterday on 54 date numerology. 76. His age of death is the 54th composite number. Perry died at 54. Big number with the Jesuits. Remember, Sabbath's third album had just turned 54 years old the day before Ozzy died. And that was 251 days after the leader of the Jesuits' birthday, which is the 54th prime. Ozzy also died on the 251st day of Charles' age. Today's 251 days after Charles' birthday, the day that the Kings Road killer is sentenced. But notice how Matthew Perry and the name of the doctor who's being sentenced, who's pleaded guilty, and the Jesuit motto all equate to 172. And yes, there is two ways to spell the Jesuit motto, and both are significant. But I see more rituals with the 172. And keep in mind that lawyer who's dead for Epstein, his birthday was the 17th of February. But yeah, you just got to say, what are the odds? That recurring number that traces all the way back to the Jesuits, who've had a gazillion 54 rituals in history, including their current headquarters being at Address 54. Again, the pinnacle of U.S. Jesuit universities was 54 in count. The first Jesuit university founded by a 54-year-old John Carroll, etc., etc. Yeah, now this ritual with Matthew Perry. And it says, one of the doctors accused of providing ketamine to actor Matthew Perry, who died in October 2023, has pleaded guilty to 4 counts of distribution of ketamine. Number 4 is associated with death, according to federal prosecutors. Salvador Plasencia. You know, this PSYOP factors in with the divide on what's going on with ICE and the border. Remember, NAFTA passed 33 years ago. Byron Dorgan told you passed NAFTA, you're going to have an immigration problem in the U.S. because we're going to be putting Mexican farmers out of work. So, again, people got to look at the whole picture. Your government passed legislation that was really only beneficial to corporations, and it destroyed a lot of hardworking people south of the border. Isn't it some kind of karmic justice to come back to the nation to, seek a way to support themselves? Again, I think we'd be better off without nations. If we could all just live by the golden rule, get rid of governments, nations, live by the golden rule, cooperate, work together. I feel like all this stuff can be done without governments and nations. There's been more death and killing and carnage and destruction in the time of governments and nations than at any other point in history. He'll face a statutory maximum sentence of 10 years in federal prison for each count at his sentencing hearing, which is scheduled for December 3rd. I forget what the number values are on ketamine. Let me take a look at that in case I'm missing something there. Ketamine. Oh, well. Well, I'm going to let it go. There's a lot that can be said about those numbers. The Jesuit order's birthday is the day leaving 138 days left in the year. Jesuit 78. Don't even get me started on 33 and 48. But yeah, again, what are the odds? What are the odds that they do it on Ozzy's birthday? What was Ozzy's take on ketamine? Personally, I don't like ketamine. It makes my stomach feel off. I don't get much of a sensation from it either other than an off stomach. Give me some sweet leaf. It's been over a year since I touched the sweet leaf. I told Sweet Lady I was going to finish last year while she was pregnant. She's like, I don't want any more sweet leaf. She didn't say sweet leaf, but since Ozzy's dead, we'll just call it the sweet leaf. When that baby's born, there better not be any more sweet leaf. Like, all right, let me just get it over with now. I'll stop. I forget, it was like a week or two before my last birthday, before I turned 41. But man, I do feel like an occasional sweet leaf is good for you. So, I don't know. For now, I got to live up to the promise, but I'll tell you what, by the time the kids are out of the house and off on their own, the sweet leaf is coming back. Who did it better, Rick James with Mary Jane or Ozzy Osbourne with Sweet Leaf? What other bands are in the running for songs dedicated to the old cannabis? Anyway, again, this Kohlberger thing, it's 251 days after Charles' birthday, the 54th prime, and it's a reminder that they said Kohlberger lived in apartment G201, 201 and 54, big with the Jesuits. We saw what they just did to the Cosby actor on the 201st day of the year at age 54 on a Sunday when the Cosby Show ran 201 episodes. It's a very recurring pattern. Heliocentrism 201, Sun 54, the whole model agreed to in the 16th century, putting these numbers together as the sun spins round, or do we spin? I guess that's geocentrism, right? The sun spins round in geocentrism, and heliocentrism, we're spinning around it. For people who weren't here at the time, something I wanted to do, but I just was never able to get out of the house around that time. I wanted to go to the University of Idaho and talk to him about the ritual with the Kings Road killing and Charles and all this stuff. Look how London, and I know it's called like Moscow, but they pronounce it Moscow. It's where the University of Idaho is, where the Kings Road killings happened, where the news broke on his 74th birthday. But do you see how they have the exact same values, just forwards and backwards? 74, 88, 29, 25. Jack, who they called 25. Hey, guess what? It's all wrapping up now in 2025, isn't it? Jack's also 83 like murder, 29 like London and Moscow, along with the 25. And oh yeah, the schools also happened 41 days after the anniversary of its establishment. King equals 41. Again, the other killings that same day were at the Virginia Cavaliers. Both killings were reportedly November 13th, but the stories did not break until November 14th on Charles' 74th birthday. Killing, holiday, English. I didn't put the king there. Weird. Probably an omission. I always forget to put something there. The king. The king's actually a lot like killing, if you take a good look. Murder fits in, too. It's got the 38, 34 like murder. Got triple overlap with the king, and the one cipher where it's different is a reflection, 34 and 43. Chesapeake is where the Virginia Cavaliers players were killed. And from the last killings by Jack the Ripper, November 9th, 1888. 88, right? Right up here, 88. London and Moscow. From those killings to... What am I doing here? From that day to the killings at the campus, 134 years and 4 days, 4 associated with death. King Charles III, 134. The Jesuits is also 134. But yeah, they said he lived in G201. Remember you had the killing of Bob Lee, the Square and CashApp creator, not long after, and it was a major ritual, and they showed that his killer lived in apartment 201 also. And in that image of the Bob Lee killer, his apartment had a 201 and a Marilyn Monroe poster on the door. And to this day, I still haven't. I know there's something with that Marilyn Monroe piece. I didn't crack it though. I also didn't put a lot of effort into it. If anybody else wants to crack it, but yeah, I'll ask it again. Are we going to see another dead rock star in 25 days on the anniversary of Elvis and Aretha Franklin's death? When Rock, London, Death, and Time are 25. And again, the British rock scene, a lot of those legends are still kicking. Outside of the Beatles, members of those bands have fared pretty well. Pink Floyd's lost 2 of its members now. Zeppelin only lost their drummer by the numbers. Look at the day that Zeppelin drummer died. It's vicious. John Bonham, he died September 25th, the day leaving 97 days left in the year, right? Drummer, 97. Again, death 97 and 25. 97, the 25th prime. R.I.P. The drummer always gets it first, man. I shouldn't say always, but a lot of times the drummer, it's just, woo. Drummer's got those fateful numbers. 97, 38, 43, killing 38 and 43. Yikes. Okay, so yeah, I got my eyes on August 16th. It's going to be a date with 69 numerology. It's the day leaving 137 days left in the year. I hope I'm wrong, but the way these people are, it's pretty predictable. Real quick, I'm going to fly through the Ozzy stuff because we did a long stream. We had a lot of calls, and after the show, when I got a chance, after I picked up Sweet Girl, I tried to come back and remember everything we talked about, and I think a few things slipped through the cracks. Actually, King Richard left a comment this morning that was really great, and I didn't get that in here. Hold up. Give me 1 second to dig this up, because this is worth sharing. Apparently, Ozzy did a podcast, and it was episode 203, 666 days before he died on the 203rd day of the year, talking about the occult. So we got to look this up. I got to listen to it when I get a chance. Somebody else also pointed out that Ozzy Osbourne died on Willem Dafoe's birthday, who played Norman Osborn in Spider-Man. Probably not an accident. Actor with a huge career, big-time Hollywood actor who played an Osborn, dead on his birthday. Yeah, I don't think that's an accident, especially since, or wait, it's not Spider-Man right now. It's going crazy. It's Superman. All right, King Richard, he said, Ozzy did a podcast alongside his family where he talked about the occult on the episode The Osbournes, episode 203. And it goes with Ozzy Osbourne dying on July 22nd, the 203rd day of the year. And the episode was published on September 26th. That's the day before the big Jesuit day. 2023, which is curious for 2 reasons. He had died a span of 666 days from that podcast. Remember, Rockstar equals 666 in Sumerian. And that date can be written as 26/9, like 269, the 57th prime number, going with him dying 57 years after forming Black Sabbath in 68. Remember, England equals 57, and they did have their last concert on the 5th of July, 5/7. Scottish Rite also equals 57 and 159. He died 159 days after the first album, 33 weeks after his birthday. Highest degree of the Scottish Rite, 33. So yeah, let me verify it. The Osbournes, oh boy, I can't type right now. Osbournes, September 26, 2023, episode 203. Not Paul. Oh, right here. Well, let's try it a different way. Ozzy Osbourne podcast, September 26, 2023. Or wait, is it 2022? Hold on. Am I getting dyslexic here? No, he said 2023. Oh, wait. Yeah, here it is. Satan, Bilderberg Group, and the Illuminati invite only. In the premiere episode featuring special guest Jamie Kennedy, the Osbournes delve into the changing landscape of the entertainment industry and explore the behind-the-scenes messaging in Sharon's latest obsession, The Idol. Kelly passionately defends her compelling claims about Prince Harry, while the family engages in thought-provoking discussions surrounding the controversial Hunter Biden saga. Comedian Jamie Kennedy fearlessly seizes the spotlight, tackling subjects such as the mysterious world of the Illuminati and the alarming surge of Satanism in today's pop culture landscape. Use promo code 666 for $5 shipping on Blue Chew. That's part of the episode. Here, let's run this real quick. September 20th. For you guys, the thing about the Bilderberg Group is it started in 54. He died on 54 date numerology. And remember, Mark of the Beast equals 54. Like Kobe Bean Bryant, who had his career high in his 666 games, scoring 81 when Mark of the Beast is 81 in reverse. Also like Kobe Bean Bryant. Yeah, 665 days later, or count a span, 666. Oh, talk about a stretch. You had to count the span. Confirmation bias. Yeah, first Bilderberg Group. I know it was in 54. Look at that. I don't even know how you found that, King Richard. Good one. Were you just looking for things he did 666 days earlier? I don't know how you found that, but good one. You always dig up some great artifacts. All right, so I'm going to have to add that to this post as well. But again, he died on the first of the last 163 days of the year. The Osbournes 163. You could also say the day leaving 162 days left in the year. For my work, I mostly stick to the 4-base ciphers like Manly P. Hall talks about in his book, but there are other ciphers, and I write about them in my first book, Letters and Numbers. There's one where you end up having 1 through 52, and it's A through Z lowercase is 1 through 26, and then uppercase A through Z is 27 through 52. Then there's another cipher that's also 1 through 52, and it's uppercase A, lowercase A, uppercase B, lowercase B, kind of like how when you were a kid in school, how you'd see that like around the rim of the wall at the ceiling. You know, the uppercase, lowercase letters. So uppercase A is 1, lowercase A is 2, uppercase B is 3, lowercase B is 4, uppercase C is 5. In that cipher, Black Sabbath equals 162. Dead on the day, leaving 162 days left in the year. So yeah, there are other ciphers out there. And you got to say, do you think that's a coincidence? It probably isn't. Again, just dead 55 years after the first album came out in 70. And it's funny, I was telling myself, I got to learn more about 70. There's clearly something more to 70. I talk a lot about 70 rituals. I did not realize that the Septuagint, one of the earliest forms of the Bible, I didn't realize that word meant 70. Keep in mind, Vatican is 70. And yeah, anyway. Yeah, I was asking myself that, thinking about Osbourne, and then the Occult Rejects, a podcast I like. They had a guest on that was talking about 70 last night, and I said, ask and you shall receive. But, yeah, Randy Rhoads, again, one of the most notable deaths connected to Ozzy's career, along with Cliff Burton. You know, he was another 55 as well. Again, they started promoting the new Ozzy film coming out, set to come out starting next year on 187 Day. Society of Jesus, Homicide Code. And again, since we did this big time yesterday, I'm going to move through here quicker. And notice they got the photo from 78, right? Prince of Darkness, 78. Dead exactly 33 weeks after his birthday is this rock star from England. 33 weeks is 231 days. His wife's name, Sharon Rachel Osbourne, 231. And by the way, a correction. There were headlines all over that they'd gotten divorced after 33 years. They were actually going through the divorce process, and they stopped and they stayed together. For the record, London divided into 33 neighborhoods. Ozzy's from Birmingham, where they produce metal, like he's Mr. Heavy Metal. The day he died was a date with 74 numerology. He got married to his wife on 7/4. They always pair the 74 and the 33, like Jesus on the cross at 33. Ozzy said he's a Christian. Ozzy also denied being a Freemason. Doesn't mean he wasn't one, but he denied being a Freemason. He very well might not have been. There is a lot of Freemasonry in the entertainment world. You don't have to acknowledge if you are one, but I'd also say, why lie about it? Some of these people are very out about being in Masonry. You got your Jay-Z's and your Rick Rosses of the world, Masons that rap about it. But, and remember, anything that's 74 in this cipher that you see, Killing, London, Gematria, English, Masonic, Occult, Jesus Cross, Parables, Messiah, Gospel, any of those things that equal 74 in Sumerian Gematria, which is multiplying times 6, they're all 444. Jay-Z had the 444 album. People are freaked out about that simulation they did with the target date of July 4th this year. Crazy disease happening in the world. Remember that simulation was 444 days from 7/4 this year. Not an accident. But yeah, they got married on July 4th, 82, the big year, the year of the big death. And a reminder, he died 82 days before Mr. Crowley's death anniversary. Did the song Mr. Crowley, Black Sabbath, 82. He died 132 days before Crowley's death anniversary. Mr. Crowley, the song 132, Like England. Number with the royal family. First album for Sabbath out on 13/2. This year will be the 78th anniversary of Crowley's death. Again, Prince of Darkness equals 78. Like Jesuit, like Scottish Rites, also 78. Again, the highest degree is 33. And one more time, died 123 days from the beginning of the anniversary of recording Mr. Crowley. Ozzy Osbourne, 123 with the December 3rd birthday. Jack Black on 7/6 just did his own version of Mr. Crowley right before Ozzy dies at 76. And keep in mind, that's the 187th day of the year, too. Homicide code, but I can't stop calling Ozzy Crowley. Ozzy dies exactly 47 weeks into Jack Black's age when Crowley died in 47. Special number to the occult, the Masons who studied the 47th problem of Euclid. Again, the word rock equals 47. 66 is the 47th composite number, and Ozzy Osbourne, 66. Jack Black, 54. Ozzy's dead on the 54 date numerology. Jack Black's 55, like the Sabbath album. Their first one just turned 55 at the start of the year. Again, Satan, 55. Ozzy sings about, you're playing too much with Satan there, Mr. Crowley. What is he? He's knocking on Satan's door. How's he worded in the song? I can't think right now. Satan is 80 in reverse, like Black Sabbath is 80, and Mr. Crowley did come out in 80. Talking about his occult work in Satan. You waited on Satan's call. That's what it was. Yeah, you waited on Satan's call. There we go. That album released on the 170th day of Jack Black's age. Sacrifice 170. I was all over this, and then in the live stream yesterday, I read about Ozzy's last social media post where, but to no surprise, I already knew the whole thing was about Crowley because it almost always comes back to him with the British rock and roll. But yeah, his last social media post, the song Mr. Crowley playing. And Randy Rhoads, man. Randy Rhoads has a really nice guitar solo on that song. Randy Rhoads, R.I.P. Ozzy Osbourne, R.I.P. Again, this dead on the 251st day at Charles' age, about the same age as Ozzy. And again, just dead on 54 date numerology. Ozzy dead at 76, the 54th composite. If you're new here, I talk about this number all the time, 54. I told the world why Diddy'd be going down at age 54 a year before it happened. All connected to R. Kelly, who went down at age 54 and who got sentenced on the big Jesuit day, September 27th. It's a really recurring pattern. And now even just Matthew Perry has to be in the news, who died at 54. And again, That sentencing date's going to be on Ozzy's birthday anniversary. Yeah, Master Reality with the song Lord of This World. For the person who wrote the long comment about how I shouldn't be, whatever word he used, promoting these evil people like Ozzy, is he really that evil? I mean, is he? I thought his music was about exposing evil. I know you go in the mega churches where these people are preaching one thing and doing another thing behind the scenes. They're talking about how, this is all the devil's music, and perhaps the tone and the vibrations are. By the way, with regards to Christianity calling this kind of music the devil's music, have you guys been in churches lately? Because they're pretty much all playing it in there. It's the new way to get people to come in to play that devil's music in the church. But yeah, again, Cliff Burton, another 54. You see how Cliff Burton equals 54? And he died on September 27th while touring with Ozzy. R. Kelly was sentenced at age 54 to prison on September 27th. Again, big day with the Jesuits. Just how these things are just so recurring, just so redundant. What will they do this year? So I can say, see, they did it again. Just count on it. Just count on it. What are they going to do this year on September 27th? And didn't we say, isn't that? Yeah, that's 67 days later, like blood sacrifice, like human sacrifice, like satanic. Again, just Ozzy got that double connection with the Jesuit order. We read that the head he bit off the bat was thrown on stage by a 17-year-old. He's dead 17 days after the final concert, when probably most people know Ozzy Osbourne. Like my mom, she couldn't tell you a single Ozzy Osbourne song, but she could tell you that he bit the head off a bat. And again, we brought it up yesterday. Ozzy Osbourne and Tom Brady retired on the same day, 903 days before the death. Prince of Darkness, 93. Patriots did a tribute because they played Crazy Train for 20 years as their kickoff music. A reminder that when Meatloaf died, it was on the 40th anniversary of Ozzy biting the head off a bat, and that's when Cooties 19 was getting underway, and they were thinking it came from a bat. And it was a big 201 ritual, and it was right after event 201. So, yeah. That wasn't an accident. Yeah, Cliff Burton died in 86. Ozzy's dead 67 days for the anniversary of the blood sacrifice, human sacrifice numbers. Again, Aleister Crowley died in a 121 ritual. 257 is the 55th prime. Mr. Dio, who was also... I didn't realize that. I didn't realize there were other singers for Black Sabbath after Ozzy. You learn something new every day. But I wish we would have known this one earlier. This is a blatant example. Somebody should have told me a long time ago. I've talked about Ozzy a lot of times. I'm surprised this wasn't brought up over the years, but Mr. Dio, who replaced Ozzy after he left the band, died at 67. And now from his death anniversary to Ozzy's death is 67 days. And I guess I didn't write it down, but shout out to Frank the Truth Tank. I meant to write this down last night, and I didn't. Look at this, you guys. Look at this. Can you guys do the math in your head how many days it is from May 16th to Ozzy's birthday? Tell you what, it's a number we've talked about a lot today. May 16th to December 3rd, 2010. Not counting the end date. It's 201 days later. Like Ozzy Osbourne's 201. It's wicked, isn't it? I mean, it's just wicked. Ooh, man. This young blood who just performed Ozzy's song Changes. Remember how the 132 just aligned with Ozzy's death. But look at the overlap of Changes in England. Exact same in all four ciphers. Ozzy dead 33 weeks after his birthday. The 132 ritual with Crowley. Final tribute concert on the 5th of July. What King Richard found out about the 26/9 podcast. 269, the 57th prime. After that concert, again, Sid Wilson of Slipknot, the band that did Gematria, the killing name. Oh, snap. I forgot to write it down. Another thing. You know how they performed Gematria, the killing name on 228? Like Death is 228. And the song says, you know, America is a killing name when United States of America is 228. And that was the 59th day of the year. And it was for the Pope. And then the Pope died by the numbers right after. But look at this. From that performance to Ozzy's death 144 days later on the 54 date numerology, Jesuit order 14454. But again, the Slipknot singer proposed to Ozzy's daughter at that final concert for him. And in case you missed this yesterday, his birthday is January 20th, the 201st day of the nation's age, 20/1. It was his 5th birthday, January 20th, 82, that Ozzy bit the head off the bat in Des Moines, Iowa, where Slipknot is based out of. I mean, and again, you associate 5 kind of with the satanic, right? Because a pentagram is 5 pointed and a downwards pointing pentagram is satanic. So his 5th birthday, that happens, and now all these years later, he's proposing 17 days before Ozzy dies when it was a 17-year-old that threw the bat on the stage. By the way, the one guy named Ozzy who played last night in the MLB, he went 1 for 4, so he had a 25% batting average. I don't think that's an accident, you know, baseball bats, batting average, but again, London 25, rock 25, time 25, death 25. It was pointed out yesterday that it was that guy's 971st game, the Ozzy in the MLB, and Ozzy Osbourne in Satanic Gematria, which runs forwards and backwards. In the reverse cipher, it was 971. I mean, pretty crazy. It's like, wow. You start writing this stuff down, you'll also have a diary of a madman. Yeah, and that was 43 years ago that he bit the head off the bat, and Sid Wilson, 43, right? His full name, Sidney Wilson, is 66, like Ozzy Osbourne. Ozzy died on the 269th day of his daughter's age, 57th prime, like they did the family podcast on the 26th of September. As we talked about, he died 256 days after his son's birthday. 256 is the 201st composite number. You could also say he died on the 257th day of his son's age, which is the 55th prime, like again, Blood Sacrifice is 257, and the first album turned 55 this year. And then the fallout with Ozzy and Trump and Crazy Train. He died 38 days after Trump's birthday and 38 days before the anniversary of the release of Crazy Train. Death, murder, killing, RIP, all 38. He died 66 days after the anniversary of the publishing of The Wizard of Oz. Ozzy Osbourne. Oz is the key word. But 66 days, Ozzy Osbourne, 66. His wife said the cause of death is PRKN2, which means Parkinson's 2. Just for the record, that's 25 as well. 25 days later is Elvis's death anniversary. Oh, the announcement about the Parkinson's came one day after the 38th anniversary of him biting the head off the bat, which was, when things were getting underway and they were speculating that it was bats, that caused the pandemic. And now that it's 43 years later, they better not got plans for another one now that they just passed their pandemic declaration on the anniversary of Ignatius Loyola getting shot, where it's all about how to get everybody the shots real quick the next time around. Remember, it was that other 201 guy who was married to the woman from a family of Jesuit priests who had the same birthday as the Jesuit order, William Henry Gates, that spearheaded that. That's old Billy Goat. have you guys heard Ozzy Osbourne sing the Take Me Out to the Ball Game at the Cubs game? Wow. I don't know if he was wasted or he had they just threw a microphone and says, "Take me out to the, sing it, Ozzy," and he never heard it before because he's going, I could have sang it better. And that is saying something. He didn't know a single damn word to take me out to the ball game. It's like, what kind of weird ritual was this? Yeah, look it up. Look up Ozzy singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." It is, okay, I don't know if he was on the trip of his lifetime or what, but it wasn't what I was expecting. Woo! I guess it was in the era of them doing that show on MTV where he was mumbling and nobody could understand a word he said. Maybe it was all part of the show. I don't know, but it is kind of funny. The new American Pope, by the way. He died on the 76th day of the new American Pope at 76. And again, Ozzy sang that for the Cubs, and again, it was the first day of Leo, right? Look at this. Pope Leo. Ozzy died on the first day of Leo the lion. Remember, Pope Leo the 14th, if I can write it right, is 58 in the most pure cipher. He became Pope on May 8th. It can be written 5-8, or it can be written 8-5. And what is it? Augustinian. No. Oh boy, I'm messing it up. Hold on. Augustina Hippo. There we go. I blame it on the sleep deprivation. Augustina Hippo, 85. The current Pope is the first Augustinian. Augustina Hippo, 85. I speculate that he'll live until 85. Poor guy. Well, he's got a ways to go. He's only 69 right now. But remember, I told you guys before he came in, I said the new Pope's going to have something to do with Philadelphia, because Philadelphia is the 267 area code. The next Pope's the 267th. Sure enough, he went to Villanova, outside Philly. He died. The last Pope died on the 312th day of Trump's age. Trump had 312 electoral college votes. The current Pope's from Chicago, the 312 area code. I meant to say that the Cubs picked up their 58th win of the season 58 days before the new Pope's, who's from Chicago's upcoming birthday on September 14th. But yeah, the area code thing. Again, 267, 267 Pope, Philly, 312 Chicago area code. Last Pope, dead, synced with Trump on his 312th day of his age. Trump put out that tweet on 5/5 that as him as the Pope, and then the current Pope's the first from America, born in 55. Remember, Satan equals 55, and Trump runs on the highest degree of the Satanic Church, mega. And by the way, with regards to Ozzy's death being synced with Trump, Ozzy died 83 days after the Church of Satan's birthday and 38 days after Trump's. I mean, I'm just saying. But yeah, the other thing with the Pope is he died on Rome's birthday, the 21st day of the 4th month, 214. That's the Dallas area code, 214. And the acting head of the Vatican when the Pope died was the top-ranked cardinal who represented Dallas, the 214 area code. It was all area code rituals with the transition of popes. I mean, to look at stuff like that and think it's all a coincidence, I'm sorry, you got to be a special kind of stupid. Especially when I'm out here calling out these things. As I watch, the new Pope's going to have something to do with Philadelphia, the 267. Just watch. Boom. I was showing how it was synced up with the Super Bowl that the Philadelphia Eagles won. There's a lot to these rigged rituals. Oh, and speaking of the Pope's death, from the Pope dying to Ozzy dying was 93 days a span, like Prince of Darkness. You could also say 92 days later, like Ozzy's 92. Yeah, that's the quick and dirty Ozzy by the numbers recap, and I wonder how many more artifacts we're missing. I mean, I didn't go through with a fine-tooth comb, or hardly any comb at all, on the albums, the songs, the big hits. I bet there's a lot more to it, but I mean, this is a lot right here, and it always is. It's always a mega ritual when these people who are large on the world stage die, and no doubt Ozzy, I mean, you think about it. Major rock star, long legacy, big hit show on MTV. Just all over the place is Ozzy Osbourne. He's one of these larger than life characters. So, and for all you Christians who are mad, who think I'm promoting some evil man, well, remember, he's part of your religion. And I told you guys before, I mean, you need to take a deeper look at your religion. Is it making the world a better place? I'd say far from it. Are you guys going to church and drinking people's blood and eating their bodies metaphorically? Yeah. I always thought that was so weird as a child. That's why part of the reason I had to get out of there, I was like, I don't know why I'm on my knees drinking blood and eating bodies. This is weird. Mom, I don't want to do this communion thing. This is creepy. I don't want to be a zombie. Remember what I just showed you guys on the Walking Dead show? If you missed the video I just put out about the Walking Dead, you see how zombie is 34? You see how Jesus is 34? You see how cross is 34? You see how church is 34? I mean, Jesus resurrected, right? At the beginning of the Walking Dead, when they go to the CDC, and by the way, the CDC has a long history with the Jesuits, the Society of Jesus. In the Walking Dead episode, when they go to the CDC, the scientist shows them how the zombie resurrects, and he uses the word resurrect. And when he's showing the footage on whatever the numbers they're making up to show the transition, there's a big 34 right on the screen. So, again, just jokes on jokes on jokes. Let's see here. I got a little bit until I got to go pick up Sweet Girl. We got a few super chatters today. Not as many people tuned in. Thank you, Gematria Sense. She says August 16th, Elvis and Aretha's death anniversary, 47 days before Sting's birthday. Interesting. Who's still standing from the police? Leopard Messiah, thank you again. I hope your daughter had a good birthday. Appreciate that. Video on my page of you covering Kimmel and Gematria. Do you mean on Free to Find Truth? Yeah, Jimmy Kimmel's made fun of Gematria a few times on his show. Cody Killa, 619 Lakeshore Drive, number 10, Kewanee, Wisconsin. Is that connected to the 201 guy that drove over? I forget what that's from. Is that connected to... Wait, I hope we're not doxing somebody. I don't know. I'm just trying to speculate what that's about. But I'm just being reminded of another 201 when that guy was released early from prison by the Jesuit Attorney General, and then he drove over the Christmas parade in November. Who's having a Christmas parade in November? And then the story was broken from the mayor's office, who was also Jesuit educated, and his address is at 201. Thank you, Rick James, for donating those memberships again. I think I saw your comment a week or so back about how I need to start doing members exclusive stuff. The reason I don't do that, Rick, is because the channel already doesn't get enough viewership, and I don't want to make people have to pay for anything I do on YouTube. I do ask people to support the work and just pledge on the Patreon or do a super chat here and there, but I don't want to put any of the important news work behind a paywall. I don't mind putting the sports information behind a paywall. If people are going to use the information to gamble, they can chip in a few bucks a month to get it, but I don't want to put the news behind a paywall. So, but I hear the thought, and I do appreciate you donating by gifting people memberships. It might make them more inclined to tune into broadcasts. All right, I'm going to open up the phone line if people like Cody Killa want to call in. And yeah, I do know. I see your comment that 619 is the 114th prime. I'm very aware of that. It's like the real King James's birthday's 619, and LeBron James, who goes by King James, has that 114 Gematria. But here, let me open up the phone line and see what you guys got to contribute to today's show. And we got it. 1 second there, 732. You beat me to hitting the last buttons to get this set up all the way so everybody can hear you. And okay, there we go. Okay, I think everybody hears you now. What's going on?
Well, nothing, that I just caught the last little bit of the stream, the first day of Leo, how this is all connected to the Pope is absolutely insane.
Right, absolutely.
So, my only suggestion would be to look at the dates January 26th and January 27th for a birthday of a rock star that may end up in the news on the date you're questioning.
How did we jump from Leo to those dates?
Well, it's not necessarily connected to Leo, but it's 201 days. The person who would be in the story, it would be 201 days or a span of 201 days before their birthday.
I see.
Or after their birthday, sorry.
I see.
And Ozzy Osbourne, 201. So that's my first instinct. I always try to check 201 when I'm looking at a date in the future and see what's going on. And there's actually a couple of rock stars that are born on those dates. So there's a few to choose from. And I did notice if it's January 27th, it like 27/1, like 271, 58th prime, connecting to London.
Sure. And 127 is no slouch of a number either. Bavarian Illuminati is 127. But yeah.
Yeah. So those two dates look great for this, and maybe that's why they kind of skewed it to the first day of Leo and not the 201st day of the year. Cause Ozzy Osbourne could have very well died on the 201st day of the year and it would have been probably good enough. Right. But I
imagine
bit
when they went to the drawing board for the ritual, it was in consideration. Yeah.
Yeah. But that was it.
All right.
Appreciate the work.
All right. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
And also,
you're gonna have to call back, man. Sorry, I was trying to get over to the next caller, but I didn't click over quick enough either. Vedger with that overseas money says Google up what is 2.01 hertz. Well, isn't that a measurement? 813, you're gonna want to mute your video and just talk through the phone. You're on.
I'm on.
You're on.
All right, great. Hey, I have a quick question for you. In relation to the tree of life with the 3-pillar 22 path, can you give us a little more information on the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet and how that relates to it? And then also, when we're putting together names, for instance, are they tracing these paths and getting to those 10 orbs that they say they lead to? And is this in any way a way in which they're making their magic, I guess, so to speak?
Again, there are 22 letters in the Hebrew alphabet, and there are 22 paths on the Kabbalistic tree, which correspond. And again, originally, this whole study of letters and numbers is connected to Kabbalah. And here you're talking about somebody who delved into the occult, dead on the 22nd of the month. As for how they're making the magic happen, all I can tell you is what I've said before is you look into what the ancient mystery religions are. One of them is Hermeticism, and Hermeticism says every single thing carries a vibration, and it also tells you that every vibration has a real impact, and it also tells you that you're either the person being impacted or the person doing the impacting. So if there's another guide out there with a greater manual that explains what these vibrations are and how they impact people, unfortunately that information's not in there, not in the version that we have access to. Perhaps that's how. And the only way I think we're ever going to find that out is if we all raid the Vatican archives or someplace like that where this kind of information surely would be kept. So yeah, I can only speculate, but I'd say all the clues are there within just studying what's within the ancient mystery religions. Again, like I said, the dark half of the tree of life is, I always pronounce it wrong, it's something like Clifoth, which is a word that has a 666 value. But again, that's the side of the tree that's connected to evil and sorcery and spellcasting.
And how exactly when I first got into this as well, looked at that guy's side as a Hebrew gematria where you punch in numbers and it punches out information. But as far as the 26 letters in the English language versus the 22 in Hebrew, how are they able to merge the thoughts, I guess?
Well, there are some overlaps. For example, the 4-letter name of God in Hebrew equates to 26, just like the 3-letter name of God in English equates to 26. And again, the name Adam is 26, and man makes God in the 26th verse of the Bible. What I feel like they did, because again, you just look through the progression of history. This Hebrew system is old. The English system is newer. around the same time that they number the Bible. That's the first thing they do. First, they number the Bible. And then shortly after that, you have English standardized with a 26-letter alphabet. And then you have the Gregorian calendar at the same moment in history. And seemingly this system's rolled out. Again, if some kind of spell casting system could be encoded into Hebrew, why couldn't it be encoded into another language? And why couldn't the system even be more so perfected, if you will? Because I feel kind of like that's what they do. This is the more evolved system, is the way I see it.
That's a good point. I like that. Yeah, it makes sense. Maybe their computers got better, or their rationale, or maybe they honed in on how to do the spell better. Exactly. And maybe that's why we're in such perilous times.
Exactly.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, great information. I hope other people heard it.
All right.
Thanks so much.
Questions. Yeah. Thank you.
Take care, man.
Yeah. Intelligent people always ask those same questions, and I pretty much always say the same thing because that is my whole theory on what is going on. And you see the critics are like, oh, this system only matters in Hebrew. Okay, you said that. What research did you do? To me, again, show me where that they were. I didn't want to get in the argument. It's clear this stuff's going on every single day. We're going out to 314. What's up, St. Louis?
You hear me there?
Yes, I can.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. Thank you.
I was just gonna bring out the fact that Ozzy Osbourne, I know you had brought out like the 17 days from his last concert, and I just came across some information I thought was like pertinent to it.
Yeah, I'm listening.
So what I had realized was like a lot of this is like going back to the mystery school of like Osiris and obviously, Saturn. But the thing that like really stood out was when you look into Janus, like, I don't know if you ever seen the statue of Janus,
Two-Face.
where it's like,
yeah, the Two-Face God.
Yeah, the Two-Face. It has the number 17 at the bottom. And so like when you look into that, in Roman numerals, it's VIXI, which it really means I lived, and also it means so I died. So when I looked at that and I saw that like he died 17 days after his concert, and he called the concert really back to the beginning, it reminded me of like Back to the Future. Like he was basically like kind of like letting you know that there was going to be something coming after his death, which you see it a lot of times with like, the symbology of the number 9 and stuff like that. When Betty White died, we saw like things kind of go awry when she died at like 99. But the thing that I found the most fascinating about it was that when you look into the number 17 or whatnot, you find that it's associated with Osiris through his death month and his resurrection. So that's the part where I'm like, it could be this allusion to us seeing like, eclipse or like a blackout happening again or whatnot, because I happen to look into the fact that August the 2nd, and I think you had brought out like the number 82 and this association symbolically with his death. And I kind of peeked out like, oh, the eclipse happens on 8/2, which I was wondering if you had went over that in the previous video or whatnot, but I didn't hear you talk about it yet.
No, I didn't. I did not.
Yeah, so like if you look, like our next eclipse is supposed to last for like 6 minutes. It's going to be on August the 2nd. It's going to be on the 2025 of this year. So I was just like, the fact that you had to use the Prince of Darkness and it's like back to the beginning, which is almost like, going into the matrix of like, we come out from darkness and then we go back to darkness by, that as above, so below principle that they always are kind of spewing or whatnot. But the other thing before I let you go, I noticed like the movie Leave the World Behind, it's a scene in there where they go to this Point Comfort, and it's like basically like 76. That's like, I think the like highway that you go off into. And when you look into Point Comfort in the beginning of the movie, and I don't know if you ever seen, so forgive me if I'm like forgetting anything. But if you look in the beginning of the movie, they show the 76ers Philadelphia Cup because they live in Philly or whatnot. And it's just interesting that the Philadelphia 76ers ended up paying tribute to Ozzy Osbourne just recently.
Okay.
And then it's the city of Burton as well. So yeah, it's like it's just interesting. But I'll let you go let the call me.
Philadelphia, the biblical Philadelphia, connected to the synagogue of Satan, and yeah, here in the U.S. we call that the 76ers town. Yeah, it is interesting. The web. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that.
Okay, good talking.
All right, yeah,
I appreciate it.
Breaking news. Pentagon watchdog has evidence Hegseth's signal message included classified information, sources say. No doubt this is by the numbers. I just want to remind people that Pete Hegseth was picked by Jesuit-educated Donald Trump on the Superior General's birthday, the leader of the Jesuits, which consider themselves a military order. That's why he's called the Superior General. And the whole signal fallout's been by the numbers. See how it all lines up today. Judge declines to release grand jury docs from Epstein criminal probe. Remember, the Epstein becoming the turning point for Trump's supporters turning on him. Epstein would have turned 72 years old on Inauguration Day, like President Trump equals 72, like President Biden 72, like Jesuit Order 72. Today is the 204th day of the year. It's 184 days after they took office, or you could also say it's Trump's 185th day in office. Donald John Trump's 185. There's probably more to it. But yeah, this whole Epstein saga. And again, to me, it's just like, wait a minute. People are just now figuring out that Trump's a creeper. I mean, wasn't there already 1,000 signs leading up to this moment? And the other thing about Epstein is people act like this guy is the center of sex trafficking in the world. Isn't that the church that most people don't say much about? I know that the Saturday School clan, they also like to play pass the baby after they get circumcised and wipe off the blood with their tongues. I used to have a video on my channel showing the footage of that back in a different YouTube era where they didn't censor. Of course, that all went down with my first channel. But yeah, if you guys didn't know that, I mean, to me, that's like a really creepy practice. Are we sure about this whole freedom of religion thing? I really feel like a new nation should be founded with freedom from religion. That's the one we need. Freedom from religion. Please, no religion is allowed here. It's all banned. It's all horrible. All you guys will ever do is fight over it because your ego. I was born in this religion, so it's clearly the right one, and all those other ones are bad. I'm so crazy, I'm going to kill people because they have a different belief system than I do. It's just, it amazes me that people can't get over religion. It is the worst. It is the worst. And understand, we are ruled over by a religious order. That's why they do their rituals so redundantly by the same patterns, by this Kabbalistic system. Now, technically, Kabbalah is a spiritual system and not so much religion, but it has been incorporated by religions. Yeah, if you guys aren't up on all my Epstein work, it's all by the numbers. The first time around, Epstein supposedly died during Tisha B'Av, 58 days after Trump's birthday, after he'd won the 58th election, announcing from the 58-story Trump Tower. Now there's a key edit in the video they put out at 11:58 minutes past the hour, 58 seconds past the minute. What's up, 917? Yeah, I hear you. What's up?
Yeah, I seen someone in the chat say that there was a connection with Ozzy and the WWE.
Oh, I missed it. I missed
WrestleMania.
I missed it.
I think wrestling equals 46, right? And
yeah.
He was inducted to the Hall of Fame on April 6th. You think that's confirmation bias?
Who's inducted to the Hall of Fame?
Ozzy.
To the WWE Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
Did he wrestle?
On April 6th.
In what year? 2021?
2021.
A celebrity inductee, yeah. It says in 2021.
Yeah, I think it was April 6th. Like 4-6 and wrestling equals 46.
Yeah, sacrifice 46, wrestling 46.
You think that's confirmation bias? Huh?
That's the 96th day of the year. It would have been 124 days after his birthday.
You think there's a connection between Ed McMahon? He owns WWE?
Yeah, well, he didn't he step down? I think he stepped down now, but yeah, obviously he's the longtime WWE guy.
You know, his wife was in Trump's cabinet, right?
Ozzy's wife was in Trump's cabinet?
No, Linda McMahon.
Oh, yeah. Linda McMahon, I remember that. That's right, yeah. Didn't they have her, like, in charge of education?
Something like that, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I just wanted to point that out to Wrestling Equals 46. He was inducted April 6th by the numbers.
I'll have to look more into his history of the WWE. I didn't know he had any connection to that, so quite interesting.
All right. Thanks, Zach.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Thank you. Okie dokie. Yeah, if we don't have a whole lot more calls, we can wrap it up early today. We've been doing some long streams lately, and I have a few chores I've gotten behind on. French president sues Candace Owens over his claims his wife is a man. Candace Owens is such a plant on the world stage. I hate these people that are viral that don't deserve to be. Well, what's up, 587?
Hey, just quick. Black Sabbath was named after a movie from 1963 called Black Sabbath, and they have some key dates in there. But that's all.
I appreciate that. I'll look more into it. It was a horror movie. It means the three faces of fear. It came out August 17th. You know, I was just talking about that August 16th date, 25 days after his death. It's interesting. In France, it came out on 11/17. Remember, that's the day the Yellow Vest protest started. 1117 is the 187th prime, and 11 times 17 is 187. It's the prime factor. What's up, 707?
Hey, what's happening, Zach? You know, representing the V out here, man, in Northern California, where all the freaking numbers are showing up everywhere like they live.
Sure.
Man. Hey, you know what? Man? After speaking with you, I believe it was the day before or yesterday, and how I should use 54 and to try to ignite some of my fellow peers and my family's brains to this information. Man, as soon as I even posted it on my Facebook, I let it sit for about an hour, and then I had maybe about 4 or 5 people finally respond to it, and most of them were just laughing. I'm like, okay, is anything that I say here untrue? And it was like, they were just like, no, it's irrelevant. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then after that, I go to look at my page, and you can't even find the post on my page no more. Like, they totally shadow banned the post.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, man, even want to try. And it's like, you know, like you said, people just don't want to be out of their comfort level. They just rather just be passive and let the enemy just gain ground.
Yeah.
I don't get it. One time, man, and another thing too, I finally listened to Gematria the Killing Game. Was Pantera or Slipknot?
Slipknot, yeah.
Finally listened to it. It took me a while I didn't listen to it at first because there was just too much going on in the music at the beginning. But once I let that jump right through, they actually had some good little loops and some riding music. But when I listened to those lyrics, man, it just got me fired up. Like, these fuckers are possessed, speaking for like a puppet, speaking for these assholes. They talking about burning our shit down.
Exactly.
Where my children live. Where my family's at.
Yep.
You know, so that shit gets me pumped up. I'm ready to fight spiritually, physically. I know I have a family. But man, somebody's got to take a stand. It's either going to be in their generation or mine. And I'm preparing their minds too. It's like, hey, look at things outside the box. Don't take everything for what it's worth and find out for yourself.
Indeed. Indeed. Yeah, I've always told people to read the lyrics to both Gematria, the Killing Name, and the Police song, Murder by Numbers. I just got to say, you guys, look at the plot of this movie from the last caller, too, who just said, check out the movie that they're named after. It's 93 minutes long. Black Sabbath, the movie's 93 minutes long. And then who gets killed? Look at this. Rosie, a French call girl, who's dead in the royal family that's connected, I was just saying. Her name is Rosie. So the girl who's dead in the royal family that the news breaks the day that he's dead is Rosie? I mean, come on, man.
Come on, man. You gotta be kidding me. See, it's so obvious, and I mean, like, all right, first you get this young, so-called black guy who passed away that everybody grew up, watching. Like you said, at one point everybody was in front of the TV on a Thursday night, man. Everybody, a chunk of the world, would sit there watching the Cubby show, and then you have Ozzy that passed the next day. A lot of the people I work with in construction, they love Ozzy. I listen to Ozzy. After I heard he passed away, I started listening to his music. They come in there, they start expressing like how much they, dude, man. What's funny to me is that fucking Michael Jackson dies of an overdose, and this man Ozzy is pretty much natural cause. I don't understand that. That shit is funny to me. Like, out of everybody, Michael Jackson dies from a drug overdose.
Yeah,
Ozzy stays alive till 76 to fucking do as many drugs as he wants.
Exactly, and a lot of these British musicians who are big on the drugs are still ticking. They're like in their 80s, some of them.
Yeah, man, crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, just that, man. I just wanted to vent out to you, man. I'm trying, bro. Trying to get the information out. I'm trying to do it as keen as a serpent as possible.
Well, I appreciate it, but what you said, I almost everybody listening resonates with what you said, 'cause that's the way it is. You share information with people, and they laugh, and they say, "Oh, that's dumb. That doesn't matter," without even doing any research, as they just swallow every story fed to them by the mainstream. That's why it seems like people are under some kind of spell, because it's like, how can they keep listening to the thing that lies to them every day, and then you show somebody some interesting information, and they instantly know that somehow, some way, that's instantly false.
Right, and it's all facts. You can look this up. Like, it's not hard to find.
It's just like that kid who I did the interview with, who cut up my video and did a short thing. He plays the clip of me talking about Event 201 on the same day of the Wuhan. He's like, I do not disagree with that. And some of these people aren't sticking to the facts. And I'm like, wait a minute. What you just played is me saying something that's a fact that everyone should look into. It's pretty weird. And seriously, buddy, what facts do you have about the cooties pandemic, since everything's unclear? Where it came from, everything. And not to mention that in the recent years, they've been like, yeah, the masks didn't really matter. Yeah, they weren't as safe and effective as we thought. I mean, what facts do you have over there, please? Oh, my God, people drive me nuts.
Let me know. It's just ridiculous. And I don't even know. And don't even go on an interview with that guy anymore. When I watched that clip of all the stuff cut up, that dude is a hotball. He's trying to be nice, trying to act all nice. That dude is. He's a slyball. How you gonna cut him? When I listened to y'all interview, he was like, man, he was even adding his numbers, trying to find out. He knows a little bit more than what he's saying, and whatever. I thought that was kind of shady, very shady actually. He did it in a subtle way, but he shut down everything he was saying with just a few words, trying to turn the masses away. I swear, I was like, this guy. And you over there like, oh no, I'm like, nah, it's like, this guy ain't cool. Like, he has a few things he agrees with, but it didn't seem like that to me. Yeah. It seemed like he was just putting up stuff to keep you kind of in the loop, so that hopefully next time he can make you look like a buffoon.
Yeah.
So just waiting for the proper opportunity.
It's not going
to happen.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah. Man. I'm sorry.
This
bullshit.
This conversation you're talking about, I saw a video last night. I've been just watching these Eddington reviews. This reminds me, I got to look up something and play it for you guys in a minute, because I just laugh. I'm just like, these people just never learn, man.
Hey, Eddington is about the modern cowboy flick, right?
It's the one that uses a bunch of my quotes. Where's my royalties at?
Because I looked it up yesterday, and the only Eddington I seen was this new Western that's coming out.
Well, we've been on it for a while. The first trailer they put out begins with my quote about everything that went down in 1956, and then there's seemingly a lot of tributes in the movie to me, because it has other quotes that are straight from my book and things I said 1,000 times, and including mentioning the word Gematria multiple times. Antifa attacks a character in Portland. Like I got attacked by Antifa in Portland when I got bear sprayed in the face. The father refers to people as fucking retards. Like I call people fucking retards all the time. Maybe that's not me, but I do use that phrase a lot.
Oh my God.
So anyway, there's a lot of things in there that seem like it's modeled after yours truly.
Man, wow. Hey, that sounds like it to me.
Yeah,
and he said it's called Eddington.
Eddington,
and it's about Gematria.
It's about what was going down. It's about a town becoming divided over the corona. It's set in May of 2020, and it begins with my whole quote about everything that went down in 1956, and they literally released the movie 1956 days from the pandemic being declared.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go up for that. My wife needs to see that one. She's on board, man. We try to teach our children. You know, we got 3 young girls. They all know how to fight now. They take martial arts, Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I do it with them. We're on the same fight team, and I'm trying to keep them away from like basketball and all that kind of stuff, man, and just learn how to truly the martial arts of things and using their own talent that they're given that requires their brain more than their physical ability. And yeah, man, it's a battle going on, and I'm just glad. I'm kind of glad that I don't have a boy at this time of at this age. Cause, man, it's gonna be hard for them with all this warmongering that's happening and how they're just being attacked in manhood and masculinity being attacked. So yeah, man, I appreciate you, man, for waking me up. I believe in higher being. I've always prayed for a wife, a woman that loves me for who I am, a house, kids. I've got it all, and I don't even know how it happened. During the pandemic, I was able to make it happen. And I asked when I was young, I want to know. I want to know what's going on. And shit, man, every single day of my life, something has came, and this was the one that put it all together. This is it.
I agree. It does put it all together. It does put it all together. I feel like anybody who has eyes to see can see that. Friend, I appreciate the call, and I'm glad things are going well for you. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, man. Have a good one. Happy birthday again.
Appreciate that. Yeah, you have a good day. Thank you. What's up, 480? Oh, hold on. I didn't hit the right button. Let's try again. All right, try it again. I hit the wrong button. There you go. I hear you. Go ahead.
Hello? Okay. I was doing some research on Ozzy. There was an Ozzy Osbourne baseball player that played for the White Sox?
His name was Ozzy Osbourne?
Yeah. But I-E. O-Z-Z-I-E.
Okay.
Or actually, they called him. Okay, I just looked at his full name is Danny Leon, but his birthday is June 19th. And from his birthday to the day Ozzy died is 33 days also.
So what's the guy's actual name?
Danny Leon Osbourne. Like Leon, and then Osbourne. So he has some interesting numbers too on him, but his full name has 187 on it too, which is funny, and 74. But and then all the stuff with Epstein and stuff, do people not know that the FBI, they whenever they raided his house, they forgot the warrant or didn't have the warrant to get the tapes. They had warrants for everything else, but supposedly they didn't have the warrant for the tapes. And then they left the house unlocked for 3 days because they busted it open when they went in there. And then when they went back, all the tapes were gone. You know what I mean? It's just a joke, All of it's just a joke.
Everything they do to us is a joke.
But,
it's just jokes going over
and then
every day.
And then the data brokers, I don't know if you know too much about data brokers, but they went, they get all the information and try to send you ads or whatever, but they are able to find out where people are. They found every single person that went to Epstein Island from 2019 till whenever he got arrested, had everyone's all their patterns, where they moved to, their houses where they live, and they turned it into the to the FBI or whatever, and then they got they got threatened that if they give out that information again, that they'll be sued or whatever.
So they knew where all their houses they were going to, that they went to like downtown, like Washington and stuff. But this is crazy. And anyone can get data broker stuff. You just have to pay for it. Like advertising, you want to go like an area, they'll like put like every cell phone that's been in there and what they're like looking up, and they'll just like give you all that information. It's kind of crazy.
Interesting. Okay, appreciate that.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, thanks, man.
All right.
Yeah, take care.
Yep. Bye.
Okay. There's so many reviewers of Eddington doing things just like this. I got to play this, and I just want to show you the irony of people's ignorance. And I just get tired of these ignorant people that think they're so smart and that they're actually saying something. It is. I'm going to shut down the phone for a minute. I think after I play this, I got to go pick up Sweet Girl too. So there's 1,000 reviews about this Eddington movie, and apparently this movie is a great conversation starter. I might have to play a minute or so. He's gonna say something that it's why this research needs to be out there. We need to be out in front of everybody. We need to be that thing that when you turn on YouTube, this is what shows up in the feed. Because when people look at this every day, they're going to have to recognize and realize that this is what's going on. Just listen to this guy. Listen to this guy here. It might take a minute for him to get to the point, but it's not too far ahead. I'm going to put on 1.25 speed.
Large part of this film, we also have to ask ourselves, who are the people being manipulated, or who is choosing to engage in conspiracy? Because it's really easy to look at someone like Emma Stone's Louise and view her as a woman married to a fairly conservative man. Of course, her and her mother would go down this rabbit hole shaped by Austin Butler's Vernon, a man so deeply charming and attractive, a snake oil salesman whispering in your ear during your darkest of moments hoping to take advantage of you. But like I said, when speaking on the film, nearly everyone is manipulating everyone else in the film, or at least certainly the white men are manipulating everyone around them, particularly women. You can't ignore how much the film captures these echoes of real life, but these echo chambers of conspiracy theories seem far more widespread than I think they were 5 years ago. And really, isn't it easy for anyone regardless of political ideology to gain these beliefs or join a cult so similarly to Vernon's? There is a shift in how radically unhappy and unsatisfied people were in the past 5 or so years, and while I can only make assumptions about how long this has been happening to Louise, I can imagine she's a vulnerable person that could easily be taken advantage of, and we can see why this happens to so many when they join cults or get indoctrinated. Years ago, I read about how easy it was for just on this platform to indoctrinate someone, showing them an odd video about a reflection or how the light bends when you're on a plane, and then 10 years later, your aunt is watching a 3-hour video essay about the ice wall that keeps us from falling off the flat earth. And we see this all the time with Alec Jones and the Sandy Hook conspiracies or Pizzagate, or with others joining cults of personality.
Okay, just bringing up the Sandy Hook part. For Austin Butler's character, you guys, is the conspiracy theorist that's influencing other characters in the film. And, you know, they use him to deliver my lines, like everything that went down in 1956. And remember, he's the guy who won Best Actor for portraying Elvis, and then Elvis's daughter died 2 days later at 54, that number, like how Elvis's first concert was in 54, and he recorded for Sun Record Studios when both Sun and Jesuit Order 54, and again, Elvis died while the country was 201 years old next to a woman, Ginger Alden, whose name equaled 201, when 201 and 54 get paired together a lot, like what just happened with the Cosby actor. But yeah, about 1956, and this guy watching the movie, and like almost everyone who's doing the movie reviews are talking about, the movie portrays like the wacko conspiracy theorist in the time of the pandemic who was misleading people. There's a lot of just saying the same types of things who are watching this film. And again, they just don't even get the jokes. They just don't even get the jokes. They literally encoded 56 into the name of the town. And again, from the pandemic to the day this movie came out was 1,956 days. And tell me, what school was opened in 1956? Because this guy just even brought it into the trailer review, or not the trailer review, but the movie review. Here, let me go back to this one. I just got to break it all the time. Patrick Dragon. See, again, you wouldn't have so much ignorance in society if this was if I was the news every day and everyone was watching what we're putting down, the world would be in such a much better place. And for anyone who thinks that's wrong, you're an idiot. Look at this shit they have to put out. A first responder to Sandy Hook has died of COVID-19, and they got him next to they just had to give you this shot right here with only 56 showing on the plate. And again, Sandy Hook, established in 1956, the shooting in 2012, 56 years later. The shooter's name, 56. Again, you see Patrick Dragon's just a reflection of it. Remember, everything in the time of the pandemic was in coded 56. Did I not put it in this post? Here, I'll just pull it up like this. This movie, Eddington, focuses on Black Lives Matter and COVID, the two big things in 2020, just like my book Number Games does, and shows how it's all connected. Remember when they put out the image of George Floyd standing next to a Corona poster? Him and Derek Chauvin supposedly worked at the same place as bodyguards. Again, just all this stuff were the big stories of 2020. Soleimani and the 56 people stampeded at his funeral. Again, just everybody that was the face of the pandemic was a Jesuit. Fauci, Trump, Cuomo, Newsom, all of them. And they all had their own 56 rituals. The toilet paper sold out. Just all of this stuff. Look at all of these 56 words. Now Eddington's out, beginning with the 1956 quote about how Elvis got the jab on Jonas Salk's 42nd birthday, Bill Gates' first birthday. You know, it gets into how I even called Tom Hanks Mr. Sleepless in Seattle, the first celebrity sick with the virus who was born in 56, who got sick while filming the Elvis movie. And again, they have to use the Elvis actor to deliver these lines. But yeah, the name of the fictional town in the movie's 56. Drop the NM for New Mexico. It's just 47, like it's the 47th state. And I'm Mr. What is 47 as well. But look how the town goes with pandemic as well. I mean, this wasn't thought up by accident. The first case of cooties in the U.S., first case in the world outside of China was on the 15th of January, 15/1, in the time of Janus, the two-faced god. Janus connected to Gates in Bill Gates' city, who's got the foundation across from the world's biggest needle, the Space Needle. But yeah, again, just this kind of guy who's like, oh yeah, that's just the whack job conspiracy theorists portrayed, and you know, like the people who question Sandy Hook. Does this guy not realize that the first jab person for Cooties 19 was Sandy Lindsay on December 14th, literally the anniversary of the Sandy Hook shooting? And then I mean, if that wasn't enough in your face, then here's December 14th. This story comes out January 5th. So what, 22 days later, they're putting this in your face in case you still didn't get it. It's just, the normies, the mainstreamers, the people who automatically throw out, oh, conspiracy theory, without even looking into anything. People just like the guy doing this review. I mean, they don't get that the joke is on them. And it's why I use the word lemmings. Again, what is a lemming? A lemming is exactly what a person like this is doing this review. There's a lemming animal. That's not what I'm talking about. It's the other. A person who unthinkingly joins a mass movement, especially a headlong rush to destruction. That's what the normal people are. The ones who think it's only truth on TV. They don't question anything. When someone like yours truly comes around and presents different information that's verified in facts, that should be on way beyond coincidence, that should get people to stop in their tracks and think about things, but they don't. And so they're like, oh, you sound like a conspiracy theorist. That's a lemming. And I've been saying this since before Cooties 19 came around. And don't forget who told you 5 years in advance what was going to go down in 2020. These people working by their 19-year cycles of the moon. Ari left that one out of the movie, I think, because it's a little too close to home since he's part of the Saturday School, the moon people. But again, the moon's on a 19-year cycle. That's why Cooties 19 came 19 years after 9/11 and the 19 hijackers. The war on germs, the war on terror. 19 years before that was the war on drugs, which were really all just wars on us, that built the police state, that built the surveillance state, that took away rights and liberties and freedoms in the name of safety and some kind of fear-mongering. Again, you guys, if we were the land of the free, home of the brave, would any plants be illegal? What plants would be illegal in the land of the free, home of the brave? What kind of people would ever be making arguments like, well, those plants are illegal because it makes some people wild and crazy and they do bad things? What's that have to do with freedom? Again, we're not free here, we're not brave. And everyone saw that during Cooties 19 when they were all scared of the 99.9% survivable outside with their masks on that did absolutely jack shit. And, you know, In a way, like you could almost say they were brave to get the pokey doke, but it's not because they were brave. It's because they were stupid and ignorant and just following orders. But I mean, really, to go out and get an experimental pokey doke from a company that's never made one before? Ooh, man, you got to have some balls to do that unless you're under some kind of mind control and not thinking about anything, which is really what the case was with these people. So. But yeah, it's all Jesuit jokes. And again, if you know what you're looking at, what the dates are important. I mean, again, you go out and survey the average American. Where did the calendar come from? They don't know. Where did the English language, who's responsible for making it the 26-letter alphabet? They don't know. Who did the founders warn about at the beginning of the country? They don't know. Who did Lincoln blame the Civil War on? They don't know. But you share it with them and they're like, oh, well, I don't think so because they're not talking about the news and I didn't learn about that in school. No, these people are retards. They're retards. And that's why oftentimes I'll start ranting and talking about how it'd be better if they just flooded the whole earth and washed all these piece of shit people away. They really should. And it would be better. And for all you guys who can't see that, I'd say you're also part of the problem. These people are absolute trash and they're dragging us all to hell. And if you can't see that, you must be part of it. It's maddening listening to people go, oh, Zach, that's not nice. You shouldn't say those things. Why not? It's true. You don't realize these people are absolute trash dragging us to hell? Then you must be one of the absolute trash people also dragging us to hell. No, these people got to go. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You see what happens if they don't go? They get us all in trouble because they go along with the agendas. They make it much harder for all of us to live. How much more expensive are everything right now because they didn't do what yours truly said? I'm not just saying just me, but me and the few other people that are like me. Had everyone done what we did, none of this shit would have happened. Because all these morons didn't get it and they went along with the agenda. We're now all collectively fucked. And it's only going to get worse and worse and worse as long as the dummies continue to exist and be in the zombie, whatever it is, under the spell, like they're the who Creedence Clearwater Revival. I don't know if that's a song, but I put a spell on you and now you're mine. That's who the dummies are. The cabal put a spell on them and now they're theirs. Oh, what are you talking about, man? It was real. I saw it on TV. Oh, I only question what you say. Never what's on TV. Everything on TV is true. But literally, it's like, what was ever on TV that was true? Name a news story that ever benefited your life. Where's one of these that wasn't suspect where they had to retract it and they didn't retract in the middle of the night? Again, I mean, it's amazing that anybody's listening to any of this shit at all. At all. I mean, it's just been nothing but lies from the TV and the big. It's just, yeah, it's disgusting. Wash these sorry fucking losers away. And if you don't get that, wash you away too. I'm sorry. So, yeah, the Richard Nixon quote about the American people only believe what they see on TV. It's 1,000,000% true. All right. Yeah, I do got to wrap it up, Truth Seeker. Time to go get Sweet Girl. Thank you again to everyone who hits the like and the share and supports the work. And I'll do one more quick scan across all the mainstream propaganda outlets. Fox News. While Trump's going down, they figure out, hey, at least pinning on Obama, that's different than going to the Clintons. Gabbard says new Russiagate evidence points to Obama. Oh boy. Good thing we have this. Remember how they appointed her 201 weeks after she left Congress for, what is it? National Intelligence, which equals 201? There's another 201. Yeah. Obama got his political power coming up next to a Jesuit priest as well. And there's a Jesuit close to all these people. MSNBC, the Bill Gates network, rumored to be soon owned by Elon Musk. We'll see. Oh, don't forget when MSNBC hired the first black woman to run a news agency in the 201 ritual. You guys remember that one? There's another 201 in history. Here's how, I guess Obama, well, we are coming up on Obama's birthday, August 4th. Trump helped lay the groundwork for a large hurdle in a hypothetical Obama prosecution. So Fox News is focused on him. MSNBC is focused on him. Don't forget Obama. 56th election's the one he won. Black Lives Matter 56. They painted it on the street in D.C. on the 5th day of the 6th month. One of 1,056 rituals. It's also Ronald Reagan's death anniversary, and his name equals 56, like Washington, D.C. BBC, what are they on today? Man, I didn't check out... I forgot to look at the BBC yesterday on the day of Ozzy's death. I wonder how they covered it. Gazans wasting away as mass starvation spreads. Humanitarian group warned. Remember, State of Israel 201. Nothing but 201 rituals with that whole war. Just like the one in Ukraine, where the Ashkenazis come from. And how's Al Jazeera covering it? Unforgivable. That world standing by as Israel starves Gaza. UN official. I would agree. It's hard to know how real things are. I mean, a lot of times I look at here and the death toll for Gaza is like some perfect ritual number. But again, for all the people who do believe everything they see in the news, and no doubt that Israel has tortured Gaza, just look at how many buildings are just blown to smithereens. And if you guys haven't seen, Israel's demolishing a lot of the Gaza's destroyed structures to make room to build new settlements for Israel there. And remember, when they created Israel, they promised that they would not encroach on the territory of its neighbors. They've been encroaching on their neighbors' territory since the moment they got there. Synagogue of Satan, Pinocchio noses. I mean, it all goes together. But anyway, for anyone who's never seen my video from the day Netanyahu came back into power, you really should watch it. That was December 29, 2022, like 1229 is the 201st prime, and that was Albert Pike's birthday, who wrote the letter about 3 world wars, which was published on the Jesuit Order's birthday, where the Third World War be centered on political Zionism. But I explained the very day that Netanyahu came back why a major war would start in Israel about the same time Yale turned 322 years old. Again, the war started 2 days before Yale turned 322. Netanyahu declared war the next day, 1 day before Yale turned 322. Illuminati founder dead in a 201 ritual on the 322nd day of the year. Skull and bones at Yale. Order 322 modeled after the Illuminati and the Templars. And the Templars are the reason modern day Israel is where it is. And Templar equals 85, like the war began on the day, leaving 85 days left in the year. Anyway, one of a gazillion important correct predictions that didn't get didn't get a billionth of the acknowledgement it deserved. Anyway. Again, like I said, imagine my work had been, instead of shadow banned and destroyed, and if it had allowed to be continued to grow and get bigger and bigger audience, I'd have massive viewership at this point. But yeah, they've destroyed this channel, and a lot of people don't know about important stuff that they need to know about, you know. And where's that goofball from Rochester, New York, who drives around in his car, who did a video right after I did that? He's like, oh, Zach's wrong. This thing will Israel be out of the news in a week, and then it happens all the time. And he's continued to troll ever since that. It's just like, have you realized you're wrong yet? Now that it's out, we're coming up on the 2nd anniversary of this ongoing thing that gets worse by the day, and that led to Israel bombing Iran on the 200-day leaving 201 days left in the year, June 13th, State of Israel 201. But yeah, it really is unforgivable. A lot of things are unforgivable, and it's why these people deserve to be washed away. Just like I said when I was 18 years old, when those 2 towers became 0 before eventually becoming 1, I said, oh, now I see how a small mustache man did it. Now I see how people can just hate a religion and want to genocide them, because that's what America was on. They were on some Gematria, the killing name, and will burn your cities down. A lot of Americans just wanted to kill all the brown Muslim people in the Middle East after 9/11, even though it was really obvious psychological operations, which pointed right back to our own government. And that's the problem with being dumb and under mind control and going for all the lies. You end up killing innocent people rather than retaliating against the correct target. The federal liars that pay for these atrocities with the tax money they steal from you. Yeah, taxes are wage theft, and everyone should see it that way. And that's why they distract you every day with this bullshit. Your head's spinning with all this bullshit and not thinking about the bullshit that's happening to you. Being lied to every day by your authorities, being taxed, being used and abused, being experimented on. News story should be, what's up with the tic-tac-toe pattern sprayed in the sky again today? Did anyone see the blue sky today washed out by the gray after all the tic-tac-toe patterns? How come we don't have any explanation for that? Thank God they gave us a constitution to protect the First Amendment so we can question what's going on. Nope, none of that's going on here. Nope. Instead, occasionally the weatherman's like, oh, and those online conspiracy theories about chemtrails. Like, oh, what the hell really happened today? I mean, it was a blue sky, and then they sprayed the shit out of the sky. There were like 5,000 streaks through the sky, and now it's just gray. And I'm the conspiracy theorist? I mean, please. Realize, if you guys do not follow Al Jazeera, they got the headlines on the deaths every day. I mean, almost every day it's children and women blowing up at the food line, at the water line. Israel says they had intelligence that Hamas was nearby. Imagine that. I mean, come on, man. What's the term when you kill innocent people in war? Collateral damage. Collateral damage. Yeah, they blew up all the hospitals. That was collateral damage. Apparently Hamas was hiding under them. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, these are disgusting military tactics. Well, we had to blow up the women and children because we had intelligence that said Hamas was nearby. It's like, you know, Tony Montana, Scarface. You remember when things go bad for him? It's actually admirable how things go bad for Tony Montana. Do you guys remember what happens in Scarface with Tony Montana? How he ends up dying? Do you remember what it was all about? He's supposed to take this guy to do the hit. Oh, hold on. Hold on. All right. I got to tell you the Tony Montana thing, and then I got to show you what happened to that actor in real life, because he's dead now. He was in Breaking Bad and a bunch of things. He's used in other mafia movies, but Tony Montana's supposed to take him to do the hit, if you remember this. And then when they get there, they see the guy who they're supposed to do the hit on. They're supposed to blow up his car. He's got his family in the car, kids, the wife. And Tony Montana's like, no way, man. We're not doing this with kids and the family. No way. No way. But the guy who's the killer, I mean, there's a reason this guy's the assassin. He's ruthless. He doesn't care. His boss told him to kill this guy. If he's got to blow up the wife and kids, he's going to do it. He's like Israel, right? He might as well be Israel. So Tony Montana knows that this guy's going to do it. So what's Tony Montana do? I'd say the right thing. I'd do the same thing if I was Tony Montana. Tony Montana kills him before he can kill that family. And then when the boss finds out about it, then the boss is coming to kill Tony Montana. Oh, no, you didn't kill my number one killer and violate my orders. That guy needed to go down. And the guy they were going to kill, I forget exactly what it is in the movie, but I remember this part. I'm pretty sure it was a politician or something like that who's trying to take down the drug cartels. And he's going to give some kind of testimony that's going to be incriminating for the boss. So that's why they have to blow him up before it happens. And Tony Montana, he allows him to give the testimony because it protects the family. But I'd do the same thing as Tony Montana. And I think any real man would do the same thing. No real man would ever be like, hey, I'm blowing up the enemy and the women and children. That is evil. And again, I'd say, you know, I've been saying the same thing since I was 18, since 9/11 happened. I saw it as clear as day that this country was evil. Its people were evil because they couldn't see through the evil and they wanted to be part of the evil, and people were getting mad at me for pointing out the obvious. I felt like I was the only guy in the city of Phoenix who had it figured out and had common sense. And it's probably not far from the truth. I don't know if there was anybody else on the entire Arizona State campus while I was at school there that saw. Actually, I'll take it back. I ended up finding 2 professors in the time I was there. Obviously, they're a lot older than me who agreed with me. But no, I had a very rare opinion in the state of Arizona at that time about 9/11. And I know I wasn't wrong. But and that been a minute, kid, man. He was trying to say the 9/11 official story is true. Those are the facts. Oh, boy. But yeah, you know, we went over to the Middle East and we committed all kinds of evil. And you can go talk to homeless people around my age on the streets of America who went over there and did atrocities and now hate themselves for it and punish themselves, and a lot of them taking their own lives, and they become homeless and drug addicts. Just like what happened to people in Vietnam. Just like what MLK spoke about. MLK gave the speech a year to the day of his death. He said, this nation's military policy is evil. We go kill innocent people in the name of companies, and those soldiers that carry out the orders, they come back and they bring that evil back into their own neighborhoods, their own families, and it's a horrible domino effect. And yeah, that is where we are. But yeah, it is disgusting. It is disgusting what's going on, and our media doesn't cover. And, you know, that's also another thing to say, guys. If I talk about the killing in Israel of children and women, does anybody care? Nope. What if a celebrity dies, though? What if Ozzy Osbourne dies? Oh, man, we got all kinds of people tuning in. So what's it really say about we the people? I think it says we're no good. That's why I say, bring on the flood. Let's see this Bible prophecy come true again. Of course, God said he's never going to flood the world again, but hey, other people broken promises. I say wash it all away, man. Wash it all away. These people got to go. People are horrible. These people are terrible. So anyway. Yeah, it might be a hard pill to swallow. It might be some hard truths to say, but I mean, tell me I'm not wrong. Or tell me I am wrong. I don't think I am. No, we've been one horrible people. We don't care about any of the right things. Hardly anybody speaks up. They're worried about what's going to happen to their own ass. And again, you just got to think about how human psychology works. If you know people are just going to cover their own ass and you create a culture where people are scared to speak out, so it's easy to commit atrocities, you can just easily lie to them and they'll swallow it hook, line, and sinker, and you condition the populace so that if they question authority, they're bad people, they're conspiracy theorists, they're tinfoil hat, they're whatever, they're wackadoodles, they're nut jobs, they need a lobotomy, whatever the cultural moment conditioning is. I mean, that's where we are. That's where we are. The authorities know how it is. They've programmed the populace. They know there's few people willing to speak out. They know those people who speak out will be demonized. They know they can make a Hollywood movie putting the facts in front of people's faces, and they won't even get it. They'll just walk away and say, oh, yeah, I hated that character that was like the weirdo Matrix cult leader. It's just like, maybe you should have looked into those lines in the movie and saw if there was something to it. No, they know the dopes won't do that. They won't. Anyway. We will leave it there for now, Truth Seeker. Thanks again to everyone who hits the like and the share. Thank you to everyone who clips the video and shares little clips here and there because people don't want to watch long streams. Some people do, but a lot don't. A lot of people got that TikTok extension span, 30 seconds and they're out. Anyway, for everyone else, thank you. Have a good rest of your day. And until next time.